In one of my recent videos, I was talking about inflation and specifically how government assistance and debt is contributing or has contributed to inflation up to this point. And it was kind of interesting. I didn't think people would really find that controversial, but it seems like it kind of struck a chord with some people, right? I kind of want to talk about some of the comments and just kind of expand upon what they were saying and kind of what I was really trying to say, right? So first of all, I wasn't necessarily trying to find a solution as far as how to reduce inflation, right? Some people were saying, okay, what, should we just take away all government benefits like SNAP benefits? And no, I mean, obviously, if you just rip away from people, like a lot of people are going to starve because too many people are dependent on it at this point, right? So as far as what the solution is, right, I'm not necessarily trying to talk about that. I just think that, you know, specifically government assistance and debt up to this point has added to inflation. And not necessarily like, you know, food assistance. It's more things like, you know, student loans, right? Kind of the things that aren't necessarily as essential to life. You're always going to have some people who are going to need, you know, food assistance, right? You don't want people just dying on the streets. Next, I also want to say, a lot of people are trying to say in the comments like, you know, well, it's corporate greed. And I don't necessarily disagree with them, right? Corporate greed, if there wasn't any greed, right, corporate or human greed really, then inflation wouldn't be a problem because people wouldn't be raising prices trying to get more money out of the consumer. However, the problem with, I think, what they're trying to do with that statement is they're trying to take the blame back off of them and put it back onto, like, you know, businesses and capitalism. But the problem I see with that is corporate greed is just human greed, and humans are, unless raised or taught otherwise, I think just selfish creatures, right? And so you're trying to put the blame and the responsibility on nature, right? And you want to do that in any other situation. If it's raining and you have a hole in your roof and water gets in, are you going to curse the rain? No, it's always rained, right? It will always rain. So the blame is really back on yourself because you need to fix the hole, right? That's just a fact of life, right? You can't blame the weather for your leaky roof. And so I think it's the same thing. We can't blame, you know, we got to work around human nature and the natural greediness that kind of people have, which causes corporate greed, and just understand, like, you know, the more we take on debt and the more that the government kind of gives more assistance to people, companies are just going to raise their prices accordingly, basically, right? Like if someone takes out, if they can get 5 people to buy a car for $30,000, which is only really worth like $20,000, you can bet the sticker price is going to be $30,000 from here on out. So that's kind of what I was trying to say, right? So if you can, if we were to all avoid debt, or if we hadn't taken on so much debt and the government hadn't pushed out so much government assistance up to this point, I don't think inflation would be as bad as it is today. Of course, there's other contributing factors, but, you know, that's all I was really trying to say with the video.